unbeatable prices. From refrigerators to washers, dryers to stoves, you'll find brand new appliances with huge discounts. And just like your favorite local teams, RJ's is proud to support our community and local sports. Score your savings today at RJ's Bargain Center, 711 Lynn Street, Waco. Call 254-224-6178. RJ's Bargain Center, where big savings are always a home run.
I've looked back at MCC with all these kids coming out here, these men and women starting their lives out here, starting their dreams and their visions of what they want to do for their family. It's the foundation for our community.
The plan is to go win.
Yes, sir.
Our girls set a goal that they wanted to win a national championship. They wanted to win a conference championship. That's been on the table from day one. And now we put ourselves in a position to do that.
Pitch hit in the air and deep to left field. Going back is Rayvon Morgan at the wall. He leaps and he makes the catch for the third out.
On the line, too much to give in. If you think it's over, then it started again. The planets alive, the stars burn bright. The sun goes down, we keep going all night. Going back down, the moment is now. Don't miss out, we're never turning around. That is your
Going back, can't get to it. It'll go all the way to the wall. One run is scored. Now the Birds coming home to score is Aiden Cooney.
Catch me if you can. We're renegades.
It's this one here in right field. It is treetop call and over the wall.
We're renegades. We're renegades. We're renegades. Listen up, listen up.
Hits the first pitch down the right field side. That's going to be it. Touching third and coming home is the winning run, Carson Croca. Give a RBI double to Blake Hansen. And the Hansen walk it off and win by a score of 10-9.
We're renegades.
Hello, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back into Centex Primetime. I am your host, Jalen Gillis, getting ready to bring you through the primetime topics in sports, not just here locally in the Central Texas area, but from all around the nation. I want to thank everybody for tuning in with us here on this Tuesday afternoon. Yesterday, we had some volleyball live here on Centex Sports Network. We'll actually have some more volleyball tomorrow live on Centex Sports Network. But I said that to say we didn't get to do football Monday yesterday, so that means it is Football Tuesday as we get ready to cover some football locally in the high school area. Week 5 just wrapped up as we talk about Week 4 and 5 in college football and also going into Week 5 for the NFL as well. So we'll recap this weekend of what we got to see and talk about some of those football games. I want to thank everybody for tuning in with us here today on Centex Primetime, whether that's with us on YouTube, Centex Sports Network / Centex Sports TV. Thank you guys for watching with us. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Also like and share this stream so everyone can know that we got some football going on here on Centex Sports Network here today. Also, make sure you guys check out our website, CentexSportsNetwork.com. That is CentexSportsNetwork.com. Free subscription. Just need your name and your email to be able to catch all of our exclusive content, including MCC Volleyball. That is back in action tomorrow and Saturday. So a full week of sports here on Centex Primetime and on Centex Sports Network. Of course, we'll be back this Friday, 6 to 10 p.m. for some more Friday Night Flex as we give you guys some more analysis on this upcoming week in high school football. We'll cover all the games, let you guys know who's doing what, who scored when, and what time. So make sure you guys tune in for Friday Night Flex. That's on Friday, 6 to 10 p.m. right here on Centex Sports Network. Well, folks, we're going to get right into it. Before we talk a little bit of NFL, I know y'all want to talk about the Cowboys. They got a tie, and they might feel like a win right now. I can't say nothing. My team's 1-3, so I'm going to leave the Cowboys alone. We're going to talk about the Cowboys. We're also going to talk about some college football, some upsets this week in Alabama getting a win over Georgia, and a few other teams. But before we do that, I want to give out my players of the week for high school football. some real deal ballers this past weekend that we got to see. I want to give a couple of those guys some shout outs, let you know who is doing their thing in high school football. Just wrapped up week 5 here in high school football locally in the Central Texas area. Looking forward to a great week 6 as a lot of teams are starting district. Some teams started district last week. As we saw, Midway and Harker Heights came down all the way to the end of the game. Some teams will be starting district. We covered District 12 here locally a lot in 4A Division II. That includes La Vega, China Spring, Robinson, Conley, Gatesville, Lorena. We'll talk a little bit about those guys, and we'll get this chance to see those teams matching up against each other for this upcoming weekend. Let's give a shout-out to some of these ballers from this past weekend. First, Sawyer Harbin, the quarterback from Belton, 18 for 32, 273 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, also carried the ball for 11 yards and a touchdown as well as Belton. He was able to keep his team afloat. Tank Scott for Bremond. Bremond is one of the premier teams that we have here in the Central Texas area. They're ranked in the state. They've been putting in work all season long. Their running back, Tank Scott, this past weekend, 27 carries, 342 yards, 4 touchdowns to go along with it. Tank Scott putting in work down there in Bremond, Texas. Also had 8 tackles on defense as well, so he probably never got off the field. Down in Chilton, as we stay kind of towards the lower level, Marneco Thomas Jr. I've talked about this kid multiple times here on the show and on Friday Night Flex. He has got this Chilton team very competitive and a chance for them to do big things into the playoffs playing that quarterback spot. He had 14 carries, 177 yards, 2 touchdowns this past weekend. Also on defense, 7 tackles and 3 pass breakups. That means he is doing it all for his team out there. So definitely shout out to Marneco Thomas Jr. and shout out to Chilton, man. Chilton's been putting in some work this year. I want to go down to Belmead, Texas, and talk about the La Vega boys as they've been doing their thing. This dynamic duo that we've talked about multiple times here on the show and leading up to the season and during the season. That is the duo of Courtney Parr and Jabari Thornton out there for La Vega. These two guys have been putting in work, picking up where they left off last year, getting another year into that chemistry. Last weekend, Courtney Parr, 28 for 39, 373 yards, 4 touchdowns to go along with it. Jabari Thornton, the La Vega receiver, 14 catches, 219 yards, and just 2 touchdowns to go along with it. He is putting in some major work as well as those guys have been doing a great job. La Vega, who's also getting ready to start district play as well. Lathan Washington from Midway Panthers, 21 carries, 79 yards, a couple of touchdowns to go along with it. We know he's been playing some good football this year. And to wrap it up, got to talk about some of the guys from Robinson High School. Bryce McCurdy at the quarterback spot, 234 yards, 3 touchdowns. Evan Marino, the leading rusher in the Central Texas area. He had 14 rushes for 151 yards, 4 touchdowns to go along with it. He's been putting in work. Can't forget about the receiver, Dylan Medlock, 5 catches, 116 yards, and 3 touchdowns in their game as well. The last ones here, London Smith and Savoy Nichols. London Smith, both guys from University. London Smith, the Baylor commit, had 9 catches, 197 yards, 3 touchdowns to go along with it. His quarterback, 308 yards, 4 touchdowns passing as the U-Dogs getting ready for district play as they coming up here. So those are some of my top players of the week from last week on the offensive side of the ball. Guys that have really been putting in work this entire season, and each and every week that I get a chance to do this list, you see some familiar names getting a chance to come up. So shout out to all those dudes, man. Players of the week for this past week and right here on Centex Sports Network. Joining me here at the table, folks, we've got a guy that I've coined as the most famous man in Waco. Also adding to his list of talents, a master of ceremonies as well after this past weekend. Mr. Rocky Miller in the building with us. Rock, man, what is going on?
What's going on, man? Shout out to Coach Gill celebrating his 60th birthday this weekend. We had a great job, and I had the pleasure of being a master of ceremony for that event. It was truly an outstanding event, very elegant event, and just can't go without saying thanking Suzette and Kevin for giving me this opportunity and all the people that were involved in putting it together did an amazing job. So, for sure.
Definitely, man.
But I see you left one but in looking over the highlights
Yeah.
week, you left one. We had a Waco line.
Oh, my bad. Let's get them in. Let's get them in the mix.
Even though we lost the game for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But we had Zadarian Johnson get 5 receptions for 148 yards and a touchdown.
Don't want to leave him out either, man, for sure.
Yeah,
Shout out to Zadarian Johnson, man, doing your thing out there for the Waco High Lions. Still looking for their first win of the season. They're getting ready to start district. We'll see if they're able to turn some things around in district play. Like I said, folks, those are some of the guys I like in the Central Texas area for last week's performances. Definitely love doing these lists week in and week out. We'll get a chance to get some more names out as district play getting ready to start. Want to transition a little bit, folks. We're talking about football here, but as I stated to you guys earlier in the show, I know what everybody's looking to talk to, man. It was a heck of a game on Sunday Night Football a couple of nights ago between the Green Bay Packers and the Dallas Cowboys, America's team, as Rocky likes to call them. A 40-40 tie. First off, I just want to start by saying I hate ties. I think it's the dumbest thing in football. I have no idea why they still do it. I understand you don't want guys playing 4, 5, 6 overtimes. Well, sometimes that's just what you have to do to get it over with. Maybe do some type of college overtime rule or something once it gets into a second overtime. But I hate ties. I know they don't do it in the playoffs, but I think it's really dumb. But they go out there, get a tie, 40-40. This is a game that, well, it didn't go exactly how I planned, but it went as I'm going through my list, my Rolodex Sunday morning and Saturday night, trying to say, okay, who are my guys? Who am I going to pick for this week? Make sure I have a solid list. Going through teams, putting this team -3, putting this team here, taking guys off and saying no. And I said, you know what? I got a feeling the Dallas Cowboys are going to do something this Sunday night. So I'm going to scrap my whole parlay, and I'm just going to put it all on Cowboys plus 6.5. So that was a good way to start the weekend as the Cowboys tied that one 40-40. Then I decided to backdoor that and say, you know what? Let's keep this thing going. And let me put whatever we just made from the Cowboys plus 6.5, and let's just go ahead and put it towards these Monday night games. Dolphins -3.5 and Broncos -7. So needless to say, it was a good weekend here for myself.
Oh, man, don't rub it in, bro.
Yeah.
Golly, man.
My bad, but no, when I get one, I gotta put it on. But going back to this game, Rock, man, seeing these guys go back and forth the way that they did, seeing a fourth quarter explosion of points, really, I guess you could say, from both sides after a pretty modest game between the two. What was your thoughts, man, on Cowboys leaving with a tie?
Well, before I talk about that, man, I mean, you're gonna have to start sending me
I got
your picks because
I had to recover after last week. Last week didn't go so great for me, man.
Because Guido and Tony are gonna start coming to look for me if I don't start winning something here pretty soon. I'm pretty deep into it. But hey, I think I can. Hey, there's always another week.
Hey, it's always another week.
And with the government shutdown happening, I don't think, Guido and Tony gonna, man, you think I can get a payment plan with those guys I keep losing? But no, man, it was a great game yesterday, man. And I mean, on Sunday, I saw the Cowboys have a lot of fight in them. The offense played, probably better than expectations, considering CD is out. Again, this almost reminds me, this is almost kind of like what I thought. I have that same feeling I had after the Philly game. I had the Philly game. I thought we might have something. We just may have to do it in a different way. This game kind of unfolded to. I didn't know if we were going to be able to move the football on Green Bay defense, considering how they were playing the whole season. And after a first quarter where we struggled, Dak and boys were able to light them up like a Christmas tree, and they kind of found something in George Pickens,
definitely
Ferguson. Got Turpin involved heavily. And then late, Tolbert became part of the mix as well. So, I mean, this is who the Cowboys are. They're going to have to move the ball. They're going to have to score points. and they're gonna have to either find a way to get stops on defense, or have drives that allow for their offense to like possess the ball a little more to keep those high-powered offenses off the field. Like, again, I felt like I'm going into this game kind of like with the Jets game, kind of like the same way I felt going into the Chicago Bears game, and you know how that turned out.
Yeah.
So we'll see, man. What I'm wondering is, Jalen, are we going to be a high-powered offense with opportunistic defense that's able to ink out victories here and there, especially against? Are we going to be able to beat the team we're supposed to win, or are we just going to be an up and down team all year? And so far, in my opinion, we've been up and down. We played a great game against Philly, both offensively and defensively. I don't care what you say. We played a great game. We were in the game, and unfortunately, our offense failed us because we fumbled the ball going in for a touchdown late in the game. Then we come out against the Giants, and we bring absolutely no defense to the table, and we let Russell Wilson, make us look like, a JV defense, but yet and still we're able to pull out the game. We come in the game against Chicago, and you think going in, you say, okay, even if Caleb Williams plays his very best, we may be able to put more points than the Chicago offense that was struggling can manufacture. What happens? They kind of stifle us defensively. Stifle us. Our offense is not able to get on board. I blame part of that based on CeeDee Lamb going out early in the game. Then from that point, we kind of struggled the entire game, and Chicago's offense played. Caleb Williams literally played the best game he's ever had in the NFL.
Life.
In the NFL. So then we go back. Then we come back in a game where it was expected for us to lose. Probably, I even bet the Cowboys. I even bet the Packers +6. -6. I thought they were going to really put it on us without CD. Michael Parsons coming back, and coming back. The offense played really, really well, probably better than expectations. The defense actually had some moments where they were able to.
Yeah, they did.
But all in all, when you look at the total yardage that they gave up, I don't think you can really, when you give up 325 in the air and give up 164 on the ground, that's almost 500 yards. So ain't really. Only thing is, we were able to sack Jordan Love and get a fumble. Those are the kind of plays we're gonna need. We're gonna need more of those kind of plays.
Yeah.
And shout out to James the Problem Houston, Jackson State alum. Jackson State alum who was playing for the Cowboys now. Also, Marquise Bell, who returned the field goal, and I think that was probably the most important play in that game.
Yeah, honestly.
Returning that field goal for a touchdown by Marquise Bell, because it looked like we were dead in the water. Look, my money looked real good at that point.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, that kind of changed.
Yeah.
It really kind of swung the tide for the fans more so than anything, because it was a pretty quiet place up until that point. And that's what I think the Cowboys are going to have to be if they're going to be successful. They're going to have to make a lot of effort plays and depend on that offense to move the ball. So, again, coming through this, I really would have liked to have been 2-2, but we're 1-2-1. Coming into a game, I think we probably should win against the Jets, and we'll see. I'm not totally down on this. Is just going to be a season where we're going to have to fight every game. Fight every game. We got probably 2 games coming up where we probably can pull out, and then we go into the Washington game 3-2. I think Philly's probably going to get away from everybody in this division so far.
Yeah, for sure.
And we'll be fighting for a wild card with teams like Minnesota, Chicago,
Washington, Seattle,
Washington,
maybe.
the Cardinals. You know, we'll be fighting for it. That's the best I can hope for coming down the stretch.
Yeah, I mean, the defense didn't give you much to look at whatsoever or to be optimistic about. But, you know, they're giving up 40 points. You got to be optimistic about this Cowboys offense, even if you're not a Cowboys fan like myself. You can only be optimistic. Dak was on point on Sunday. Like, on point. Like, the ball is coming out when it needs to come out. He's not holding it too long. He's not trying to force the ball, even though they were able to get the ball to George Pickens, and it didn't look forced every single time like it's looked like in the past. When Dak is on point like that, I mean, it's going to be hard for anybody to stop the Cowboys. Now, the defense is a whole nother problem. But as far as what to looking for in the offense, they're running the ball fluently. George Pickens just showing I can be a number one if CD is not here, which means when they both get back, it's two number ones out there at the same time. The line, even though they're battling injuries, look like they were able to hold up at certain times. You got to be optimistic about that. They kept Dak off his back playing against Rashawn Gary, playing against Michael Parsons, the guys that look like world beaters the first 3 weeks. Dak was able to put 40 on these dudes. They just shut out the Lions. They just shut out a team a couple of weeks ago. Even in the loss in the Browns, they only gave up 13 points. And Dak was able to go out there and put up 40. So for the Cowboys side, you got to be optimistic.
Like I said, I know the Packers have a good defense because I think they played Detroit the first week.
Shut them out.
And they were able to really control.
Yeah.
You know, the line of scrimmage again, and Jared Goff was really ineffective for most of the game. So I thought, you know, I honestly came into this game thinking after watching Detroit play their last few games, I'm like, well, if they're able to hold Detroit, we can't put up much of a defense. But yeah, I was really happy to see where the Cowboys were able to move the ball. And it looks like, and again, even the series, even the first couple series in the game, it looked like we had a plan of how we were going to move the ball. I think the first series, it was undermined by a drop by Pickens, more so than us just not being able to execute. He dropped the ball, and that kind of got us off the field. He was actually open. He looked in and saw a linebacker, and he
made a business decision.
And he dropped it. But no, man, I'm like I say, I'm optimistic. We have a very competent offense with a defense that we're still working through. I was happy to see that Diggs was able to make a few plays, even though it didn't count.
Yeah.
You know,
at least he's doing something out there.
Yeah, man. He seems like he's getting his thing back. You know, and again, if we can force, you know, Justin Fields to kind of push the ball down the field because they have to keep up with us. If we have to force Bryce Young to kind of try to keep up with us moving forward, I think those are situations that favor us in the long run, even with our defense playing the way it is. Because, again, we should be able to put up points, and I think those teams up to this point have struggled to keep up offensively in games.
And that's the path for the Cowboys to win, is trying to get teams to keep up. Dak's got to get that Joe Burrow mentality of last year where, hey, man, whatever our defense does is whatever they do. I'm going to throw for 400 yards, and we're going to score 40 points. Now, however the game ends is how the game ends. That's the mentality Dak's got to have. He's kind of had it already going into this. So the Jets is the same thing. You know, defense, we just need you to get a couple stops. Let me go out there, run the offense, run the show, get the push points on the board.
Let me say something also about I'm looking at James Houston and his 2 sacks. James Houston has 2 sacks, but the number 41 dude, I ain't gonna even try to pronounce his name.
Ezraku.
He's getting far more playing time than James Houston.
Way more.
And I don't even think he got hurt.
Nope.
And so these are the kind of things that I think has to kind of iron themselves out, because ultimately, I know you drafted the guy. I know the guy has a lot of potential. He looks like an edge rusher, whatever. But how long can you go with keep giving a young guy a chance, and he's just not productive? He's just not productive.
It's not producing at all. When he got I think he was near a play, and they Sunday Night Football, they pull up the graphics and show where you went to college. When they did all that just because he got near a play, I said, oh, they don't think he's ever going to get – he's not going to get another stat the rest of the night.
That goes to show when these guys are drafted, rather than you pick up a free agent like James Houston, you want to give these drafted guys a chance to produce, and I'm looking at how, at what point do you abort the player development aspect of this and go with the guy who's more productive?
Yeah, I mean, and you have to at this point, especially with your defense playing the way that they're playing. You got to go with
like I said, I've been watching him every game, bro. he ain't smelling no sack.
No, not even close. I was trying to see, could I look for hurries on there, but it didn't let me show it on there. I haven't seen him in any of the games I played. He has not been productive.
He ain't got a rush. Not that on a hurry. He ain't got a quick. And what I'm saying is, he's one of those guys, and I said it the other day. Mm-hmm. He's probably one of those guys that all the measurables say that he's an elite player. Mm-hmm. He probably looks like a freak.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But when you put it on tape, what he's putting on tape doesn't warrant the level of play that he's, like the number of snaps that he's getting. I would like to see the snap comparison. I see. This is when I need to renew my Pro Football Focus.
Yeah, me too. I was just finna say my subscription is up right now on Pro Football Focus.
Where I can look at the number of snaps each player has played based on the effectiveness. Yeah, but I know James Houston is not playing any more than 20 snaps a game, and I know that the other guy is playing at least 40 snaps, anywhere from 35 to 40 snaps. He's getting a lot of snaps.
A lot of snaps. And if he's young, this would be the time you think, let's just go ahead and bench the guy for right now. Because he's so young, let him get some spot plays. He should be playing 15 to 20. Let him get in on some third down scenarios, stuff like that. But if James Houston is your guy, because that's what they're looking for, is who's going to be the guy. I guess they thought it was going to be Sam Williams after the Micah trade. He hasn't produced. Houston's really the only guy I've seen any type of production out of in any of the Cowboys games that I've seen as far as rushing the passer. But that's what they've got to get figured out. Bland and Diggs are not cover corners. They are opportunistic corners. If you make somebody get the ball out quickly, they got just as good as ball skills as the receiver. So it's literally a 50-50 when you throw the ball up against Diggs or Bland.
Diggs is the guy that he's always been. He's great at route recognition. And to your point, I don't think he's great at covering, but he's able to recognize a route and he's able to track the ball really well.
Absolutely.
Again, and I think he's probably not 100% physically.
I don't think so
either. But what's happening now is they're just able to drop back and bomb him and outrun him. Mm-hmm. And so they do that because we haven't been able to put them in predictable passing situations. And because we haven't been able to put them in predictable passing situations, they don't matter what down it's in, they're gonna take us.
They're able to get.
Like I say, James Houston, and he's got one sack just based on sheer effort, and then the one he got last week was just a brilliant pass rush where he didn't even really try to make the tackle. He just was trying to knock the ball out to Jordan Love's hand.
Yeah.
He did a great job with that. So we got to get more James Houston on the field. We got to figure out a way to get him on the field. I understand all this, but it's a situation where the Cowboys got him as a free agent, right? Mm-hmm. If he compiles anything over 8 sacks,
he's gone. He's a goner.
No, he ain't a goner. You got to pay him.
Oh, okay. You saying Dowdle's gonna pay him?
No. What I'm saying though, if you're a guy playing spot duty, you get 8 sacks. I'm gonna put it like this. Sacks are simple like this. You get $1 million for every sack. If you're an 8-sack guy, you can demand $8 million. If you're a 9-sack guy, you can do $9 million. Now I know it's more involved in that.
Yeah.
But think about the guys that make 16, 17 sacks a year. Those guys are $20, $30 million guys. So I'm just doing it in a real crude way of calculating it, where you can demand. Now, even if he's a situational guy as a pass rusher, he still can get $8 or $9 million a year.
For sure.
And there are going to be some teams out there that probably have to offer him something. So, again, I understand what the Cowboys are doing, but we need James Houston's skill set on the field more than just 15, 20 snaps.
Yeah, he's been the one of the lone bright spots on that defense. So definitely shout out to James Houston, as you said, a Jackson State alum. Seeing the HBCU product go out here and do what he does in the league. Got a chance on the Lions the last few years, was able to put some work in and do some things. Now on the Cowboys, much bigger platform, and with the lack of pass rush.
I think he has probably more career sacks than anybody else on our team, if you think about it, because he got about 6 or 7 with the Lions.
Yeah, definitely. If we're going off the last couple of years, I know y'all got what's his name? Yeah, Dante Fowler, who ain't did nothing. He probably got the most career sacks because he's been in the league a decade at this point.
Oh, well, okay.
Yeah, so he probably got them. But he's right there with anybody else because none of the other guys are proven guys out there. Sam Williams probably got the same. No, I don't think he got the same amount. I don't know.
No, hell no.
I don't know if Sam Williams got 8 sacks. I tried to give him a little love. I didn't know if he had 8 sacks or not. No, I don't think he does. But, yeah, so he's right up there with the top guy. James Houston's got to be on the field more. Cowboys tied up 40-40 on Sunday Night Football against the Green Bay Packers, like Rocky just alluded to. They got the New York Jets, so that's always a get-right week for anybody in the NFL when you got the New York Jets who have not won a game. Shout out to Aaron Glenn, though. Those guys been competitive, just ain't found a way to win.
We just need the Titans. Do we got the Titans on our
Yeah,
schedule?
that's the only way my team got right.
That's the ultimate get-right game right there.
And it wasn't even right because it was 6-0 at halftime, and I turned it off. I said, man, I'm not watching this. I'm not finna support when my team is doing stuff like this. And eventually, they kicked it in the gear, and we won that game 26-0. Looking at this Kansas City Chiefs team versus the Baltimore Ravens, Kansas City puts 37 up on the Baltimore Ravens, who should be thankful to the Dallas Cowboys and everybody talking about their defense. So we don't talk about how absolutely atrocious the Baltimore Ravens defense is. I know they battled injuries, and we're going to talk about that now. They've got even more injuries piled onto that with Lamar Jackson being hurt. But this defense has just been terrible for 4 weeks in a row now. Nothing to write home about. I know Roquan Smith is hurt. I think Marlon Humphrey got hurt in the last game. But it used to be a time where it didn't matter who was playing for the Baltimore Ravens. The defense was going to be the defense out there. Those days are long gone with this Baltimore Ravens team as they lose 37-20. Now, Lamar Jackson gets hurt in this game. So obviously their chances were completely squandered. But what you can look to and get some insight from this game is Patrick Mahomes playing near mistake-free football. And that's something we have not seen from him in almost 2 years, really. Getting back to the 4 touchdowns, looking like what we're used to seeing with Patrick Mahomes. Xavier Worthy came back last game. That was probably a huge piece of it, which I'm glad because I got Xavier Worthy on my fantasy team, and I'm definitely going to need him now that Tyreek Hill is injured, probably out for the season. But Xavier Worthy comes back. He definitely added a much-needed spark to this Kansas City offense. The offense looked good. The defense, I won't say much about because after Lamar goes out, you're playing against Cooper Rush, and nobody expects anything out of that. Do you think the Ravens are done with? I know Lamar's hurt, and he'll probably be hurt for a couple of weeks at the most, but he'll be back in the season. Now that they're 1-3, and you're seeing the Steelers go out there and getting wins, and the Bengals have returned to what we knew with the Bengals, and the Browns are bad too. Being in a bad division, do you think the Baltimore Ravens are done with the 1-3 start?
I think Baltimore Ravens, right now at 1-3, they can still win their division.
Yeah, I agree.
You think about it. If you look at, if you can bring up their schedule or whatever.
I got you. I got the standings.
If you look at them, and I'm just going to look at the guys in their division. They're 2 games behind Pittsburgh. They play Pittsburgh at least twice left. They can make that up. We know what the Cincinnati Bengals are. They're dead man walking. Yeah. And then, of course, we know what Cleveland is. They're waiting on Shador to get the start. Yeah. So they can just certainly win their division. And then again, they have a tough front part of their season, but if you look at the back of their season, they can really make some hay on the back end of their season. And so that's what I fully look for them to do. When you start the back half of your season with but I think they'll go Vikings, they'll go Browns, Jets, Bengals, Steelers, Bengals, and Patriots. And then they'll finish with the Pack. They'll come in with the Packers. They may not be playing for anything, and then they will come in and play the Steelers. They could end up winning this winning this conference, this division, no doubt.
Sure.
They just have to get back healthy, and that's what they have to be concerned with, and also winning the games that they need to win.
Yeah.
They could certainly lose against the Texans. and the Rams, but they probably should beat the Bears. And then they could they invite that they go to Miami and they have Tua, and again, I know last night Tua won, but I mean I still think he's made of tissue paper.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? and let's be honest. Last night I wanted to talk about this.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I thought there was a concerted effort last night to make sure that Miami got a victory based on just all the penalties that were called against the Jets versus the penalties that were overlooked by the by the Dolphins. And so I don't know what that was all about, but it seemed like that was because I think the Dolphins had you can go look at the team stats, and I think the Jets had like 11 penalties if I. Penalties. 13.
13 for 101 yards. That's at least a touchdown.
Yeah.
And some.
Yeah. So and then it prevented the Jets from ever getting anything started, man.
Yeah.
So again, I don't think Miami. Oh well, let's be honest. The Jets or Miami, neither team is very good.
No.
And my point of saying this, I think the Ravens have plenty of opportunity to get back in the divisional race.
Yeah, I think they'll be fine, as you said. The back half of the schedule, the front half is loaded. You got to get the viewers in. You play Baltimore. I mean, you play the Bills. You play the Lions. You play the Chiefs. You play the Texans, the Rams. They front loading that schedule. Let's get these ratings. Let's make sure we have good games before we know who's who. Let's make sure we have good games on the front end of that schedule, which the NFL does to their good teams most of the time. In the back half, lots of ground to get made up there. You get the Jets. You get the Browns. You get the Bengals twice. You get the Patriots in there. You get a Steelers team who barely squeaked the win out against Carson Wentz and the Vikings. I mean, you're looking pretty optimistic. Yeah, they could go 1-3. I think they're going to go 1-5. I think they're going to lose to my Texans because they don't have Lamar. And if Lamar doesn't play against the Rams, they're going to lose to the Rams anyway. So after that, they're going to be 1-5. And I still think this team can make the playoffs. And as you said, probably potentially win. That division has been the black and blue division of the AFC for years.
We got to remember there's 17 games now.
Yeah,
and
17.
And again, if they can't in succession beat the Bears, the Dolphins, the NFC Viking team that Lamar has dominated the NFC, and then come back and beat the Browns, Jets, and Bengals. If they can't do that, if they can't rip off 6 on that one, then they're not fit to go to the –
they're just not that team.
Yeah, they're not fit to go to the playoffs. So, I'd like to see after they lose, like you say, you believe they're going to lose against the Texans and the Rams, I'd like to see what their playoff chances are because I probably would put a bet if the
it's going to be as low as you can get it at 1-5.
Yeah.
That's going to be as good a value as you can get getting the 1-5 team. But, yeah, I think the Ravens will be fine. They just got to get healthy. Do I think they'll be fine? And they were my Super Bowl pick going into the year. I can't continue to have that pick as of right now just based on what we've seen. The defense is just absolutely terrible. I cannot put that. That's not a championship caliber defense. I don't know who I'm picking out of the AFC right now after 4 weeks. We've finished a quarter, well, what used to be a quarter of the season now. And usually you start to figure some things out. But in looking at the standings, I don't know who. I mean, there's teams that are good, but there's nobody I can definitively say, oh, man, I think these guys are Super Bowl contenders. I can see them coming out of the AFC because your division leaders in AFC right now are Buffalo, obviously 4-0, Pittsburgh, Indianapolis, and the Chargers when you look at your division leaders. And that usually where you can kind of lean towards somewhat to see who you think. But
other than the Buffalo Bills, I don't think none of those teams will eventually win their division.
No.
I don't think ultimately, I don't think the Chargers will win their division. I don't think Indianapolis will win theirs. And you're going to be surprised who I think will win. I really think the Texans are going to win that division.
I'm with you. 1-3 right now, but I'm with you.
And then the Pittsburgh Steelers, my money is on the Ravens to win that division, to be honest with you. You have two things working against them. You have Baltimore's schedule, that. And then you have the situation where can Aaron Rodgers be healthy for an entire season? And here's another thing that people don't realize. If you have a chance as a team to be injured early or injured late, you want to be injured early.
Absolutely.
And so I think that's what's happening to the Baltimore Ravens. They're injured early, but they potentially could be very healthy coming down the stretch, and that's going to make for probably a really deep playoff run if they can be fully healthy down the stretch.
Yeah, I agree. I think it kind of reminds me of the 49ers team a few years ago that got to the Super Bowl. They were extremely hurt early in the season, or maybe it was the year before they went to the Super Bowl where they went to the NFC Championship and lost to the Rams. Super hurt. They ended up finishing 8-8. I think it was still 16 games then, or maybe 8-9. Lost maybe they're 1 for 5, 1 for 6. Ended up running off the last few games, running the table, making it to the playoffs. Once they got in the playoffs, it's just the playoffs. It just depends on your matchup. They were able to get all the way to the NFC Championship game and lose to the eventual champions in the Los Angeles Rams. I see Baltimore doing something similar to that. They're going to be injured and they're going to lose some games now, but as you said, you want to be injured early as opposed to injured late. That can just really derail your season and kind of give up hope. So I still have faith in the Baltimore Ravens, and they got the best player in the league still, Lamar Jackson, when he's coming back, because as much as the Ravens have struggled, he hasn't struggled that much throughout the season. I think he threw his first pick was this last week, and that was a play that the linebacker made an amazing play. He had to turn around while running full speed and catch the ball going back this way, a play you don't see many linebackers make. So I think that they'll be okay. Let's talk about some of these rookies, man. We talked a little bit about Cam Ward and the Titans. Jackson Dart gets his first start with the New York Giants. Goes 13 for 20, 111 yards and a touchdown. Also 10 carries for 54 yards and a touchdown, as well as the Giants get probably the upset of the weekend, going in 0-3, taking on a 3-0 Chargers team. And the Giants go out there and get a win, got 21-18. What do you think about Jackson Dart's performance and him kind of willing his team to a win this past weekend against an undefeated Chargers team?
I thought he looked pretty decent. I mean, he looked like most young quarterbacks when they come in the NFL game. They have to win the young athletic quarterbacks and ultimately impact the game with their legs. Mm-hmm. They keep the team on schedule. You know what I mean? Coincidentally, Justin Herbert, the greatest quarterback to ever play in the NFL, threw a couple picks.
Turn back into old Justin Herbert.
I just think ultimately this was a game that the Giants had to have if they were going to be in any type of contention for the playoffs moving forward. Fan base was really excited. The team played really inspired, and to hold Justin Herbert to 203 yards passing, and I thought that was really good. And so at the end of the day, it was one of those games where they were in the game the entire game, and Justin Herbert, wasn't able to close the deal when he was given the opportunity late.
Yeah,
you almost can kind of predict these things when you playing these young athletic quarterbacks early. It just you go in, the defenses go in to stop a conventional guy, with these guys have such a propensity to run the ball. Mm-hmm. I don't know he had 50 yards rushing. I mean, he that's kind of, and he ran the ball 10 times. They ran some QB power with him and stuff like that. It changes the dynamic. Think about this. When a team runs the ball 42 times in the NFL, 42 times.
To 13 on the other side.
Yeah, man, you're controlling the ball. I like to see what the time of possession is, because I'm pretty sure the Giants creamed them in time of possession. Yeah.
Yeah. 35 minutes to
they were
almost
playing,
36 minutes.
Yeah, they were playing. And when you do that, you send Justin Herbert out on the field. He's behind, and he kind of presses, and QBs make mistakes under those circumstances all the time. So it was a great game playing by Kevin.
Brian Daboll.
I don't know why I want to call that dude Kevin Daboll. Yeah. I'm sorry, Kevin.
whoever
that is. But I'm glad that I'm glad that the young quarterback was able to go out there and get a start. And again, he looked like he looked like a gamer out there.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
he did. He looked like he did at Ole Miss.
He looked like
those
a gamer
scrappy
out there.
plays that when you just need it on 3rd and 3, on 4th and 1. He made all of those type of plays, and those are the things that rally your team and get the team behind them. What happened? I think what happened in the game was, one, the Jackson Dart, the energy that he brought to this, them making an effort to say we are going to run this football, and they made them have to tackle Cam Scatterbo 25 times, which is going to make people tired. 25 times having to tackle somebody big like Cam Scatterbo. And the biggest thing is they put the Chargers in passing situations, which led them to a point I brought up about the Giants before the season started. I don't know how they were ever going to get to it, but if they put teams into passing situations, nobody in the entire league, 1 through 32, wants to play against that defensive line. They just can't ever get into passing situations. These are the parts I look at. Brian Burns, one of the most underrated DNs in the league. Only 1 sack. He hit the QB 4 times. And you think, man, that's crazy. Kayvon Thibodeau, a top 5 pick a couple of years ago out of Oregon. He hit the quarterback 3 times. Their top 3 pick out of Penn State this year, Abdul Carter. He hit the quarterback 5 times. And I watched the game. All 5 of those could have been sacks. That QB hit is Justin Herbert is getting the ball out with a millisecond left, and Abdul Carter, he could have had 5 sacks in that game. Nobody wants to play in passing situations against the Giants' defensive line. The problem is the Giants have a hard time putting people in passing situations, and that's their dilemma. But when you got guys like that, and Herbert being not a statue, he's got some athleticism, but for most of the time, he's not getting outside of the pocket. He's just a standing target. That is just teeing off, and it's a field day for guys like that. So the Giants have something with that, with Jackson Dart, with Cam Scatterbo. They're not going to do anything this year because when you lose Malik Neighbors to an injury like that, he's clearly your best player on the team. He tears his ACL. You're not going to do anything this year, but you start to see those building blocks that, and I think back to Brian Daboll saying on draft night, we're banking on you. I'm banking on you is what he told Jackson Dart, meaning you control my job in your hands. The Giants kind of have something with that. I like the scrappy play out of Dart. I've been a fan of Cam Scatterbo since last year in college football, and then that defensive line to go along with it, man. So shout out to the Giants getting a win, an upset win over the Chargers. Glad that I didn't parlay on those because I definitely would have put the Chargers, whatever their spread was, to be able to beat the New York Giants, and I didn't. Philadelphia Eagles move on to be undefeated once again in the season, 4-0, beating another undefeated team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But we know what all the chatter is about. A.J. Brown, two catches for 7 yards. Devontae Smith, 2 catches for 29 yards. A.J. Brown, only 2 catches and 9 targets in the game. This is the same conversation we had last year. We watched A.J. Brown read a book on the sideline when he got frustrated. Never seen that before in my life, but we got to see that for the first time. Is this a problem that is fixable with Philly, or what do you think about this Eagles team? Even though they're 4-0, the offense continues to struggle. You see a quarterback who hasn't passed for, he passed for 200 yards last week when they had to against the Rams, but outside of that, he's thrown for 150 against the Cowboys, 100 yards against the Chiefs, and 130 against Tampa Bay.
What's the record again?
4-0.
But I understand. Okay. I understand the dilemma that the Eagles wide receivers are in, right? But the object is to what?
It's to win the game.
It's to win the game. The more you pass the ball, to me, the more you put the game at risk.
Mm-hmm.
This game, I think they went up 14 really early.
Yep.
And they were able to play their brand of ball, keep pressure on Baker Mayfield, force him to pass. And even though Baker Mayfield did play well in my opinion, and he was able to put some pressure on him, they weren't able to close the deal.
Yeah.
And with that being the case, they won the game. When you get 31 points in the third quarter, all NFL teams they're just trying to get out of the game.
Yep.
So guess what? They scored 31 points. They're not going to pass the ball. On 3rd and 4, they're still going to run. It became a very predictable circumstance for the Tampa Bay defense. Now, should they have just passed the ball to appease Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown? I don't think that's the way to do it. I think
so
there are
either.
going to be enough games in this season that they're going to get a chance to show them what they can do. This is a long season, and I'm sure they're going to have their opportunity to make plays.
Yeah, when you're 4-0, I don't think it really matters. As a coach, you don't even listen to this stuff. As a quarterback, you don't even. We're 4-0. We're the Super Bowl champs. We haven't lost a game since September of last year.
I'm going to tell you what the bigger problem is, though, Jalen. Bring up Saquon Barkley.
Yep.
I like to see his stats this year.
First 4 games right here. And I also agree. That is the bigger issue.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah, that's the issue.
That's the problem right there. When you have your guy, and he hadn't broke 100 yards all year. He's had 3 games of averaging less than 4 yards a carry. The one game that he did average 4 yards a carry, he had just 4 yards a carry. I would like, and I think they're running the ball enough, right? But it's just not very, very productive in the running game. But as long as you have the lead, you don't have to be that productive in the running game because the running game shortens the game and keeps your defense off the field. And that's what they were doing. They were running the football.
Yeah, I agreed. I think that is their biggest problem is that Saquon has not got 100 yards. He's barely gotten over 50 yards this entire season. Like he is not playing well for whatever the reason. I think the Landon Dickerson injury is hurting them a lot because I think the stat was last year Saquon Barkley rushed for close to 1,100 yards or 900 yards just behind Landon Dickerson alone last year. His injury has played a huge part, I think, to
who does Philly have next week?
Philadelphia, let's go back. Denver Broncos this upcoming week.
Yeah, I think they're going to have to pass the ball in that game because I think with how their running game has been struggling, they're going to have to push the ball down the field. I don't think the Broncos are going to make the type of mistakes that Tampa Bay made, and so you'll get a chance to. It could look a lot like the Rams game did early,
when they're down.
Yeah. So again, I just think the Philly is one of those teams that they just do just enough to win until they have to do more.
Like it showed in the Rams game. They do just enough to win. They go in the Rams game. They're down by 20 in the fourth quarter. All right, well, let's open up the passing game. A.J. Brown got 2 touchdowns. Jalen Hurts got 290 yards. They tailor the game around each game to win, similar to the Patriots. I don't know why people act like this is some type of new thing, like they can't win and they're doing this. Tom Brady is considered the greatest quarterback of all time. And I remember plenty of games. We'll have a 6, 7, 8 game stretch of throwing 180 yards, maybe 200 yards, but they're winning the football games. So I have no issues with Philly and how they're winning. If you're winning the games, you're winning the games. I don't think it really matters what you do. A.J. Brown obviously will be upset. Devontae Smith will be upset because that affects their bottom line. But at the end of the day, they're winning football games. And when they need A.J. Brown, they'll use A.J. Brown. And when they need Devontae Smith, they'll use Devontae Smith, man. So I don't have any worries about the Eagles. I'm not going to worry about a team that hasn't lost in a calendar year. They haven't lost outside of them starting Kenny Pickett last year in the game and then losing that. Outside of that, they haven't lost a game where they got their starting quarterback in a calendar year. So I'm not going to be worried about those guys. There's lots of decent games this past weekend that were surprising. The Buffalo one scared me for a little bit. Buffalo pulled away late in that game. Detroit did what I knew they could do. The Rams and the Colts was a pretty interesting game. Daniel Jones turned back into who we think Daniel Jones is, a guy that's going to turn the ball over because, yes, he had 2 picks, but he also had a couple of fumbles where one of them, I think he didn't lose either one of them, but he had some fumbles that were on him. And it looked like Daniel Jones back in blue playing for the New York Giants.
You look at the game and it kind of unfolds. Mm-hmm. This is the game that you want. This is the game that if Daniel Jones has made a step forward, this is the game you find out. And you find out that Daniel Jones is the same guy.
Exactly.
When you don't run for almost 200 yards, then you have problems.
Yep.
He has problems moving the ball consistently down the field, and he has an issue with turnovers. My biggest issue with Daniel Jones is when you got to have it, is when you need it. He never does it. He didn't mean like he does it sometimes.
No, not
he
once.
never does it. I would even say go to the team stats and just look at third down conversions. And that tells you, that's the quarterback money down right there. And you'll see, Daniel Jones was 4 for 12.
Yep.
So, again.
And they played decent throughout the game, but once they got behind, they didn't try to speed Jones up. But as you said, as soon as it got to the fourth quarter and the whole game, we're not going to speed you up, just take your time, even though we're down. It got to the fourth quarter, hey, we need it right now. Then fumble, interception, you start to see all of those things start to creep back out. So
yeah, it's a function of I'm gonna be honest with you. As you know, I think if that touchdown isn't called back by Jonathan Taylor, they can play a different ball game with the Rams, and now Daniel Jones doesn't have to pass the ball,
exactly.
They can run the ball more. They're not behind it. So it's style of play with Daniel Jones.
I think Mitchell fumbled on the 1 yard line too.
Yeah, that was early. I want to say
early. Yeah, fumbled on
but
the
I'm
1
just
yard
saying
line,
late.
Yeah.
You know, Taylor had that long run. I think it would have he would have taken the lead, and they've been able to put some pressure on and run the ball. Continue to run the ball. But again, when you put him in must-passing situations and need him to convert, he almost never does.
I don't see the Colts doing anything in the playoffs. I do think they are a really good regular season team, though. I think Shane Steichen has built an offense there that they can get to something as much as he turned. If Daniel Jones literally just doesn't turn the ball over, not only do they beat the Rams, they probably beat them by a couple of scores. I mean, you're talking about a touchdown run that got called back from Jonathan Taylor. Adonai Mitchell literally just gave the ball away on the 1 yard line as he was walking in for a touchdown. So if you take away a couple of those turnovers, the Colts are a good team. The problem is why they won't do anything in the playoffs is because in the playoffs you have to make plays in the fourth quarter in order to win, and I don't expect Daniel Jones to be able to do that, nor this Indianapolis Colts team. So for that reason, I wouldn't consider them a contender. On the other side, the Rams, I said it before the season, they were my pick to come out of the NFC if Matt Stafford is healthy. As we see, Matt Stafford is still a monster out there. 375 yards and 3 touchdowns, no picks. The game is really easy for him. Puka Nacua seems unguardable. And the fact that Devontae Adams can just get 4 catches, 50 yards, and a touchdown and to be in the background lets you know that this offense can really be dynamic, man. So I like what I've seen out of the Rams. The couple Monday night games, there wasn't much. Obviously, the Denver Broncos and the Bengals game, there was nothing. I didn't even watch past the first quarter of that. I wasn't going to do that to myself. I'd rather watch the paint dry. The other game, the Jets and the Dolphins, as you spoke to earlier, really it seems like some almost unfair calls towards the Jets as far as refereeing, but they were able to pull out a win. I don't think any different about the Dolphins. I think they stink. I just think somebody had to leave this game 1-3 instead of 0-4. That's the only thing. I don't think the Jets are going to do anything this year. I think the Dolphins, 90% of these guys on the team won't be here next year, in my opinion, including coaching staff. Coaching staff will be gone. Tyreek Hill and his injury, we all saw the kind of brutal injury he had to his knee there. Do you think Tyreek Hill is done, really, with his career? And what we know is Tyreek Hill. I think he'll probably play football again. But from what we know to be Tyreek Hill, do you think he's done after seeing that injury last night?
You know, those, I have to say at this point, it's probably 50-50 that he ever plays again. And with that being the situation, I don't ever think he'll be Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill was a guy with blazing, explosive speed. I hope that he's able to return to that, because the league with Tyreek Hill is an exciting league, but looking at that injury was kind of crazy. And it looked like, on the surface, like a pretty routine play, but it seemed like his knee just came out of the socket like it was. And when I saw him with his, I thought something was wrong with what I looked at when he was laying on his back with his leg up and his ankle was pointing back at him, and I'm like, what the heck is that? And it turns out his knee was dislocated. It was very unfortunate, man. I hate to see those games, those kind of injuries happen, and it just reminds you what a brutal sport football can be sometimes. Yeah,
it's tough. It's tough to say that he'll be able to play again or even be anywhere close to, because he got the dislocated knee, and we see people tear their ACLs and come back. But when you dislocate the knee and the way that he did it, and the reports of multiple torn fragments within the knee to go along with the dislocation of the knee. It's hard to say that we'll ever see the same Tyreek Hill again if he goes out there and plays football.
Let's get to walking first, and then
Exactly.
then we worry about football. At the end of the day, I think he's made somewhere around $180 million. That's one of the things why I think it's so important that football players, when they're in this game, they get compensated. I'm sure Tyreek Hill can take that ride in that cart and have surgery today, understanding that he's scheduled to make $20+ million this year, and he has his future secured based on how much he's earned in his career. And so that, shout out to Tyreek Hill. I just think his financial security allows him to deal with this situation with a clear head and a clear mind, and not realizing that he'll never have to push carts at HEB or stock groceries or anything like that.
His kids won't either.
He
got a whole bunch of them, but his kids won't have to.
Yeah, he does.
But like you said, it's tough coming back from that, and that's why, as you spoke to, the security you get in football. That's why I never go against a player whenever they're holding out and asking for money, because before the season started, if you said, hey, Tyreek Hill's on the open market, teams might give up a first-round pick, maybe a couple of picks for him. Somebody might offer him a $100 million contract, even at his age. Now, just 4 weeks later, not only would teams not give up first-round picks for him, nobody's signing him to a $100 million contract after coming back.
This is a career-threatening injury.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
just that quick it happened.
Just say if this was a contract year or if he was on a year-to-year type of situation, again, I'm sure, he probably still has some guaranteed money due to him. And I don't think, even after this, I don't think he would be playing for the Miami Dolphins. No.
I thought he was done with the Dolphins. I didn't think he was going to make it through the season. I have been saying it already. I didn't think he made it through the season with the Dolphins. But now after this, he's definitely done with the Dolphins. Dolphins got a lot of questions to answer. Obviously, you fire your coach. That's the first thing. He's got to be on the first thing smoking out of here. But is Tua worth $200+ million? Do we pay Jalen Waddle now that we've seen in the times Tyreek hasn't been out there? Waddle has been pretty ineffective. All these type of questions. They've revamped their defense. They got rid of everybody on their defense. So they got a lot of questions to answer.
I don't think you can evaluate anybody offensively until you do something with Tua.
Yeah, I mean, Tua is not. He's not good. He's just not. I'm watching some plays, not as much of this week because they're playing the Jets. But it's a guy.
Tua is a flag football player.
Yeah, no, seriously though. But I don't even know because it's a.
Well, what I mean by a flag football player, he would be very effective on a 40-yard field with, you know what I mean. But when
can't throw it far.
Man, he just
not mobile.
Yeah, man.
He's not good. Tua's not good. There's a guy that I follow on Instagram or TikTok. One of them, it might have been YouTube, where he does a thing where he does the worst throws of the week in the NFL each and every week. Tua had about 9 throws that were just absolutely horrible. Guys are so wide open that they not only have time to stop running their route, they have time to stop running and jump up and down and do this, and still no one throws the ball, and then Tua throws a pick to the other side. Like, he's playing some absolutely horrible football right now. So you've got to figure something out with Tua. You got to figure out something with the coach as well. Lots of good games this last weekend on the NFL slate as we get ready for another good week of NFL football this weekend. I want to do a couple of quick takes here and then hit a couple college football games before we get out of here today. First off, as a quick takes, we already talked about Tyreek Hill and his injury. First one I want to ask you about, they announced the Super Bowl halftime, man. Bad Bunny going to be the halftime performer. Any thoughts about Bad Bunny being the halftime performer after we get Usher and Kendrick Lamar back to back?
I don't know who Bad Bunny is. The only thing I know, this is honestly what I know about Bad Bunny. Me and my wife love going to Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is one of our favorite places to go. And she said, man, and I was thinking about, hey, how about we plan a vacation for something, maybe our anniversary or something. Like, how about going to Puerto Rico? She says, well, Puerto Rico is pretty expensive now because Bad Bunny's doing the residency in Puerto Rico, and that's caused all of the accommodations in Puerto Rico to be much more expensive than it usually is. That's my first time, and I asked her then, who the heck is Bad Bunny? You know. Now, people are all up in arms because he's an entertainer. It looks like he's a guy that kind of cross-dresses or something like that.
He's pretty weird looking.
Well, I don't even know if that's a real thing. Is cross-dressing a thing?
I don't know what's the thing anymore in 2025. You can call yourself they, so I don't know what.
What I'm saying is he wears clothes that look like women could wear, and no one would.
It's a lot of unisex clothes out there now. Is what you're saying.
So anyway, man, and then all of the I guess I'll say the evangelicals are all up in arms saying this is a affront to them or whatever. I'm like, God don't care about football.
Hey, bro, I think the last thing on this, let me see who I should put for the Super Bowl halftime. Forget all the stuff going wrong in the world. Let's get the Super Bowl halftime going. Let me figure out who I get them.
Yeah, man.
Are you saying God chose Usher and Kendrick Lamar too? Like
I'm just saying that.
I've seen
I'm
that
just saying
from
that
people.
they're like the evangelicals are up in arms about who's performing at halftime, and talking about that is a slap in the face to all football fans and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, I mean, evangelicals, from what I understand, are believers of God, and they follow Jesus Christ and things like that. And I don't think Jesus cares about football. I think
Can't say that's on his top 10 list.
No,
of things to care
Jesus
about
don't
right
care
now.
about the Cowboys,
Nope.
the Eagles, the Rams, whatever. Jesus is concerned with your soul and what you're doing with your life, and you don't have to see Bad Bunny, and I don't either, because again, I remember when they had guys that I didn't like, and I knew who they were, like Bruno Mars. I don't listen to Bruno Mars, so I found something else to do at halftime. I went and made me a sandwich or something. You know what I mean? When they, when they had, I think they had Coldplay or somebody one time. Man, I go make me a sandwich, pour me a drink, do something else, man.
For real.
It's not that big a deal.
It's
Lighten
not.
up, guys.
It's not. I don't get
You
that
act like
either.
and guess what? You can always go see the person you want to see. You can go see whoever you want to see in concert at one of your local arenas.
Where they actually get paid from you purchasing their ticket. They don't get paid when we watch the Super. They don't even get paid from the Super Bowl.
Yeah, the
halftime.
NFL don't even. You gotta have somebody that's going. I heard some guys talking about what's the guy Wallen.
Wallen Morgan.
Yeah, Wallen Morgan. How come you didn't choose him? Wallen Morgan should have been.
Come on, dog.
But Wallen Morgan has a song with Dirk.
Yeah,
You know what
exactly,
I mean?
exactly.
So you think God thinks he's better than Bad Bunny?
Exactly.
Dirk is on trial for killing somebody. So
On wiretap admitting it.
yeah, come on, man. God don't care about
I don't.
that, man.
Nobody. That I don't. I don't even want to get started on the evangelical thing because they got some other stuff they believe in besides Jesus. But they. I don't see why people are so mad about the Bad Bunny thing because, as you stated before, I guess we got spoiled the last couple of years because we got the Dr. Dre and we got the Rihanna, then we got Usher, then we got Kendrick. I remember growing up, I didn't ever see anybody at halftime I knew. I don't know who Coldplay was. I didn't listen to Coldplay. I didn't know who that. I didn't know who Linkin Park was. I don't know who that is. So I'm used to seeing people at halftime that I have no idea any of their music or any of that. This will just be another one of those times.
That's why you have bar food or whatever that's why you have a spread, on Super Bowl. You have some sandwiches, you have some chips, some hot wings. You get you another plate, man.
Super Bowl halftime is about arguing about why your team
or
is
go
supposed to be
outside and
there.
play catch. I don't
Do
know.
something.
Do something.
If Bad Bunny's just that bad,
The game will be on in 28 minutes. Come on, so let's not. And again, I think sometimes Jalen people look for things to complain about.
Yeah,
right?
that is. That's exactly what it is.
Bad Bunny performing at I've been a football fan for 50 years, man. Bad Bunny playing at halftime doesn't ruin my day one way or the other.
I didn't tune in to watch Bad Bunny at halftime.
I'm this kind of fan like this here. This is just honestly. Bad Bunny could be playing at on Elm Street. I'm not going to see him.
On Elm Street.
You know what I mean? But at the same token, Lil Durk could be playing on Elm Street. I'm still not going to see him either.
Exactly.
You understand?
I agree.
And the guy and the people that I like, they probably not gonna put him on there anyway. So I accept that certain things ain't for me, right? They trying to, again, think about this, guys. It's a business, and I don't want to go on this rant or whatever.
No, you good.
But football is a business. What good is it to appeal to me when I'm gonna watch the game anyway?
No matter what. Because I like football.
Yes.
Which is what's getting played in between
So
the half
the
ups.
best thing to do is put somebody on that's going to bring in other fans.
Exactly.
That's going to bring in other interests.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just smart business. They know the football is the main course for me. For other people, they go sit down and eat just for dessert. And Bad Bunny is dessert.
Yeah.
But I want ribs, chicken, steak.
The whole thing.
I like peach cobbler, but if they
I
don't
ain't come
have
for peach cobbler.
none, it's okay.
I agree.
I'm not coming to the cookout for peach cobbler.
No.
I want ribs, chicken, and steak.
I agree, man. Like you said, the best point you made was people just want something to complain about. Why are we complaining about Bad Bunny at half? He doesn't even speak English. Who cares if he doesn't speak English? Guess who also doesn't speak English? Most of the world doesn't speak English. So,
You're right.
So other people are going to tune in and watch. It's not about us. Maybe he's the most streamed artist in like the last 5 years. Maybe it's got something to do with that. The entire Latina community loves him, including people outside of the Latino and Latina community love him. Why would I be mad? As Rocky said, I'm going to watch the game anyway. I want to see who's going to be playing in the Super Bowl. I didn't watch last year's Super Bowl because Kendrick was performing. I didn't watch the Super Bowl before that because Usher was performing. So I don't think that matters at all, y'all. Let Bad Bunny go out there and do it. They gave us 4 black people in a row, y'all, for all the people that was getting mad. They gave us 4 in a row. Golly.
You evangelicals, if y'all can put up with Donald Trump, y'all certainly can put up with Bad Bunny. So I don't want to hear y'all. I don't want to hear shit.
That's what I was going to say. There's a lot of other things that they put up with outside of Donald Trump and Bad Bunny. We're going to draw the line of Bad Bunny. You don't even know what he's saying, but now he's Satan. You have no idea what he's saying. You can't decipher one lyric in this because it's all in Spanish and it's Spanish slang. So you can't even pull your Google Translator out and say, what did he say right here?
It's the Super Bowl.
It's the Super Bowl. Come on, dog. Like, what are we talking about, man?
And don't watch it.
Yeah, how about that? Just don't watch it. If you're so upset, but you're going to be tuned in to see. Let a guy like Jackson Dart be playing quarterback.
Ain't nothing else going to be going on in the whole world on
nothing.
Super Bowl Sunday.
Nothing.
On the second Sunday in February, nothing else is going to be going on. I don't care where you go.
Nope.
I don't care if you're going to cruise, they're watching the Super Bowl. I don't care if you're on vacation, they're watching the Super Bowl.
I don't care if you're at church because I've seen it. They watching the Super Bowl. I've seen it with my own eyes. So it doesn't matter where you go. Everybody's going to be watching it, man. Nobody cares. The Super Bowl is the most watched thing in the world. Nobody cares that Bad Bunny's performing or that you don't like Bad Bunny performing. But, I just thought that was funny, seeing all the pushback and the people that just have to have something. This is why we need to get Jay-Z's not doing his job. He's not representing us doing that. He didn't let Young Thug perform at halftime. Like, come on, dog. I just expect the craziest stuff. Let's go to college football while we got a couple minutes left. Look at some of the games from this past weekend. Got some really good ones. Got some surprising ones as well in this last weekend's game. The first one I want to start with, SEC battle, Ole Miss and LSU. Ole Miss able to pull this game out. Ole Miss was just able to fight throughout this game and kind of withstand LSU. They had absolutely no running game. A lot of that due to Caden Durham being hurt as well. But LSU was never able to run the ball, never able to get any consistent offense going. And Ole Miss kind of looking like one of the top dogs in the SEC, as you spoke about on here before. 4 to potentially 5 teams are going to come out of the SEC when it comes to making the college football playoffs. As of right now, Ole Miss looking like one of those teams. What do you think about the Rebels getting the win this past weekend?
Man, you know
LSU?
the most impressive thing about this game was because I watched this kid play. They had playing quarterback Trinidad Chambers last year in the Division II championship because, you know, he played the current Prairie View head coach in the championship game. And he gave Valdosta State the business.
Yeah.
Right? And it looks like he gave LSU the business too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And the last few teams that he played against. No,
you know
definitely.
what I mean? So it's funny that this kid is a D2 kid, played at Ferris State, and he gave them the business. So I love to see these lower division kids come up with an opportunity. This is what's wonderful about football is when you see a kid is able to dominate a lower division, and they try to say, hey, it's just on that division. When he comes up, he's not going to be very effective. And what does he do? He do the same thing he did against Valdosta State in the championship game. He dominates the game. And shout out to Trinidad Chambers and somebody I really don't like, Lane Kiffin for giving him a shot.
Yeah, definitely. He got his opportunity. There were some injuries, and they were, Austin Simmons is behind him, who's a 5-star quarterback. So they were saying, oh, they're going to give Austin Simmons a shot. He gives the guy a shot that's earned it, probably been killing everybody in camp. And what does he do as soon as he goes out there in the middle of a fiery game against Arkansas, throws for 350 yards, backdoors that, they blow out Tulane, throws for 300 yards, backdoor that, they beat LSU where he throws for 300 yards. This kid has the goods, and I want to start seeing him on as we start to rank these quarterbacks. We got to start putting this guy up there, man. If he's able to do it at every level, maybe it's not a fluke. Maybe he's just actually really good at football, and that's what we're starting to see with Trinidad Chambers. I'm like you. I'm definitely a fan of that kid and what he was able to do this past weekend. As Ole Miss moves up in the rankings and moves past LSU, getting this win, man, that's big victory for Ole Miss and the 5-0 Rebels, who Lane Kiffin hasn't been able to get the job done. Is what it seems like the last few years. He is hilarious though. I don't know what
troll.
He is the ultimate troll, and I love seeing him do stuff on social media. I'm not sure how it went with the whole Whit Weeks, the best player on LSU's defense, dating his daughter. I don't even know how that goes on. I feel like that has to be some type of martial law. If I'm the dad, I know I make a bunch of money and you go out and spend all my money and stuff. You can't go and launch a relationship with the best player on LSU right before we play them. As a dad-daughter relationship, something's got to be said there, Rocky. You know more about that than me. I don't have no daughters.
No.
Something's got to be. Hey, man, can we wait till next week? You gonna wait to announce that you dating this dude the week we play LSU?
Well, I think Lane Kiffin's the one that announced it.
Yeah, he is.
You know
He's a troll. That's why he wanted to be.
Yeah,
Y'all doing it? Okay, well, I'm gonna say something about it. Then.
Yeah. And I think that's what he said. And again, and that, like we said, hey, we just had this little quarterback, and again, Lane Kiffin is a good coach. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah, sure.
He's just not my cup of tea.
No, not at all.
Not my
Most
cup
people
of tea.
that do things for Ole Miss aren't my cup of tea either. But he's one.
But he's a really good coach.
He is.
And I'm glad he gave glad he gave Trinidad Chambers a chance, or he was able to see the talent that Trinidad Chambers had, so he could get an opportunity. Now this game right here, this Colorado BYU game.
Yeah, I got to ask you about this one before we get out of here.
So I was able to see this game.
Mm-hmm.
I did watch most of it, and this was a game where people will blame this game on Caden Salters, but I think it was the Colorado defense just couldn't get BYU off the field.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They've let him down multiple times.
Yeah, they couldn't get BYU off the field. I think if Caden Salters, he sat on the bench so long, I think it threw him out of rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
And then he got on the field. When he did get on, he was pressing a little bit. I'm a Caden Salters fan, but I there's one or two things going on in college football. Either Colorado is not as bad as a lot of people think they are, or BYU is not as good. Because believe it or not, Colorado was a 6-point underdog in this, and they very
at
well
home.
They could have easily won this game.
Oh, should have won the game.
Had they made a few of those sacks, had they caught some of those passes that could have been intercepted, they certainly could have won this game. So I'm encouraged as a Colorado fan. Even though they're 2-3, I see them being competitive in the rest of the games in the Big 12, considering they don't have to play Texas Tech.
Yeah, when Colorado lost to U of H, it had me questioning, do they even have enough talent to be able to go out and win some of these games? BYU reminded most people they have the talent. For whatever the reason is, they have not been able to put it together. Caden Salters played much better. I think probably his best game of the year if you take out, the Delawares and people like that. But the decision-making in the fourth quarter, there was times on third downs he just did not make the play that needed to be made.
He didn't pull the trigger on the throw.
Yeah, he wouldn't pull the trigger on the throw, especially late in that game in the fourth quarter. But I think they found something in putting Jalen Miller out of the backfield, a guy that came out of Saxes that played everything. He was a monster when he was here in Texas playing the Saxes. I think they found something with that. Michael Welch has continued to run the leather off the football. Every time he gets an opportunity, he hasn't got many, only 11 carries in that game. But when he does get his opportunities, he's going to make something of it, downhill running. And Caden Salter showed, man, when he's using his legs, he's going to keep a defense off balance the entire game. We know he's got an arm, a big arm at least, that can throw the ball down the field. him showing off the speed and showing his willingness to run kind of kept BYU off the heels. It's a game that Colorado could have definitely won, but as you said, but it just came down to that fourth quarter. They weren't able to get
really
BYU
like the way
off
they
the
used
field.
Jalen Miller this game because I think
they found something
as
with that.
his role evolves during the season, he can really be a threat.
Yeah, Marshall Faulk said that he's a guy that's definitely got enough talent to make it to the league as a receiver, but he's a guy that could be a guy in the league if he makes that transition to running back. And I mean, he's built like a running back. When I watched him play at Saxy's, I thought he was a running back. He played everything. Played running back, kick returner, wide receiver, tight end, whatever he wanted to play when he was down here in Texas playing high school football. But him coming out of the backfield,
that's different.
That unlocks a whole nother thing for this Colorado offense. 8 carries for 52 yards and a touchdown. Also had a couple of catches for 27 yards and a touchdown. He can be that guy for this offense. If him and Caden Salter can continue what they built on this last game, Colorado's going to be in every single game they have for the rest of this season. Yeah, they're 0-2 in Big 12. Yeah, they're 2-3. Well, I watched the Baylor team go 0-4 in the Big 12, 0-3 in the Big 12 last year, and then run off 6 or 7 games in a row.
Absolutely.
Colorado definitely has enough talent to be able to do something similar to that. They got TCU, which is going to be a huge test coming down here to TCU to play there. Mm-hmm. Josh Hoover and TCU Horned Frogs have been playing great football, even though they just lost to Arizona State. Definitely a winnable game for those guys. Iowa State's playing the best football in the Big 12 right now. I think Iowa State is going to be a tough out. Utah, Arizona, West Virginia, Arizona State, Kansas State.
All those games are winnable to me.
All winnable games. All winnable games that you got to go out and you got to look at the schedule saying, hey, we have to go and win these games. Same with TCU. They're a vulnerable team that was undefeated but just lost last week. You got to go out and capitalize on that, try to get a win this next weekend. Colorado's going to be in these. I'm not giving up completely on Colorado on this season, mainly because no one's emerged as a top dog in the Big 12 yet, in my opinion. So Colorado's right there with any of those teams. Penn State and Oregon. Oregon was able to get a win this past week over Penn State. To your point that you made on Friday Night Flex when you said Oregon will be able to go out there and win this game. Penn State not able to make those plays at the end of the game, even though this is a super close game, winning overtime. Drew Aller's not the guy, y'all. Y'all tried to make him the guy last year. He's not the guy. He's not the guy that's going to be a transcendent player in college football, nor at the pro level, in my estimation. This Oregon defense is the biggest part of this team to me. Oregon's defense was able to stop both of these runners for Penn State with Katron Allen and with Nick Singleton as well. Both of those guys getting a good amount of carries and not able to do much. Their defense is the reason why I'm high on Oregon for this year. Dante Moore is the guy that I thought and many thought he was going to be before the season started. Decorian Moore is the guy that I knew he was going to be. Anybody that watched Texas high school football knew what this guy was going to do. As soon as he touched college football, he's already their best receiver in my estimation, especially with Evan Stewart being out. What do you think about the Ducks going on the road, getting a win against Penn State?
Man, actually, I was really impressed with Penn State in this game because I actually thought they had considerably more. I thought Oregon had considerably more talent than Penn State. Yeah. Drew Aller played. I wouldn't say he played bad.
Yeah, he didn't play that bad.
He didn't play bad,
game.
but when I went back and watched the tape, he just looked like a guy.
Yeah.
And I think Oregon's quarterback,
Dante Moore.
He dominated the game.
Yeah.
And so with that being that situation, they just didn't really have no answer. Each and every time he was able to match anything they put on him, anything they were able to do to him defensively, he was able to match it either with his arm or his leg. So I think Oregon's going to be a tough out, man.
Oregon's going to be a really tough out. I like them against Ohio State based off what I've seen out of Ohio State so far this year. I'm trying to think who else in the Big Ten. Obviously, I like them against Indiana or any of those teams like that.
Again, on the road is one thing, but when, also, I always like to say this in the Big Ten, as the leaves turn brown, the game changes.
I bet they were very glad this game was in September and not November when they played against Penn State.
The game changes. So to truly see who's going to be in charge of who's going to be able to win the Big Ten, to me, it's those games in the first week of November and the second week of November that kind of give you a good indication of who's really in charge. Because in those games, you're gonna be able to see especially when you have those matchups, and it's Ohio State, when it's what's the other school?
Penn State, Ohio State,
yeah.
all of those guys out there. Indiana's got a decent team.
Indiana,
USC.
Yeah. You know, how do those teams deal with especially when you talk about Oregon and the USC, how do those teams deal with the weather?
Yeah, that's going to be their biggest thing. We saw it last year as it got colder and colder. Oregon's game started to change last year, and but for right now, Oregon looking like, man, one of my favorite teams to watch so far in this upcoming year. I want to look at a couple of these games for this upcoming weekend, and I got to give you credit. You were the only one on the show last week that picked Bama over Georgia on the show, and Alabama was able to pull out a win on the road too. So that was definitely a good call there. This Texas and Florida game, most people would overlook it because Florida's 1-3, Texas is 3-1. But with the way that Arch Manning has played this year, how do you see this game going with the Longhorns versus Florida?
So, this is a critical game.
Yeah.
This is Arch Manning's first game against Division I elite talent. I don't know what the point spread is.
6.5 going towards Texas.
Again, I got to see Arch in this game.
Me too.
And how he deals with the athleticism of the Florida Gators. The Gators are not what I would consider a bad team, though they, if you look at who the Gators have played, they haven't played any dogs. You know what I mean? They played South Florida, they played LSU, they played Miami. None of those teams are dogs. You know what I mean? All those teams are pretty solid teams. Let's see if Texas is a real team. I'll put it like this. Because Arch Manning played Ohio State. Is he going to look better than he did at Ohio State?
He's got to. He has to. Or this is another loss. And you're playing in Gainesville. Florida, at this point, don't have anything to lose. They're not going to win the SEC, and they're not going to make the playoffs. They don't have anything to lose at this point.
Let me ask you this. Will he outplay Lagway?
I think so. I think DJ Lagway's played horrible this year. So I can't, as bad as Archer's play, I cannot.
So do you think Lagway's play is a function of actually how good he is or bad he is, or him coming off an injury?
I think it's all mixed in there. I think he did have injuries, but he didn't look good in any game so far this year. So I think it's a mixture of both injuries and his play. Arch, like you said, he's got to come out here and prove it to me. This defense is a championship caliber defense.
I don't think Texas goes to Florida and covers the 6.5.
I agree. I would if I took Texas on this game, it would be money line. I think some last minute heroics, field goal, their defense will make a play.
I'm taking Florida in the points. I know that's probably maybe not be a popular bet, but I just don't see where you take a Florida team that's pretty stout defensively, and I think this is one of those games where DJ Lagway can play close to the vest, and they'll be in the game late.
I agree. I think this is going to be a dogfight. People that's why I said don't look at the 1-3 and the 3-1 and just say, oh, let me go and pick Texas on this. You got to look at the games and what actually happened in those games. Most of those games for Florida, the game got away from them early outside of the USF game. Texas Longhorns, all their wins, none of these wins are impressive. Okay, you beat Sam Houston 55-0, and then Arch Manning, he scores a touchdown and starts staring over a dude and standing over him and pushing him on the ground. I haven't seen you flex on nobody this whole year. You're going to wait till you play a team that just stopped being Division II 18 months ago, and you're going to play them and say, oh, yeah, now I'm going to start flexing out. Those are things where I start to have some questions. We'll figure it out, though, this weekend against Florida.
Arch is going to have to he's going to have to put it on the field. And I think this is a great, I think this is a great opportunity for Arch to kind of get some confidence going into that Red River shootout.
Yeah, that's what I was about to bring up. You need this for that, because if he don't look good in this game, they're going to get dog walk at the Cotton Bowl against you. Oklahoma's not playing around. John Mateer, if he's healthy. John Mateer.
The game won't be decided by if John Mateer is not healthy, the Oklahoma defense is enough to give Arch serious problems.
Yeah.
And again, I'll say this: Ohio State was a great defense, but the way Arch looked, he looked incompetent as a quarterback.
And Ohio State hasn't looked as great as maybe what we thought they have looked so far this year. They don't have any impressive wins over this season. They played Washington. It ended up being 24-6, but the game was close for a majority of the entire game. Within that game against Ohio, the game was close for way longer than what people would have wanted the game to have been close. So, we'll see how that comes up for this weekend. Folks, we're out of time. There's a couple more good games this weekend. Vandy, Alabama is going to be a good one for this weekend.
Bama with the get back.
Yeah, same way. I got Bama in that one. Tech against U of H. U of H 4-0, but it's a fugazi 4-0 in my opinion. Best game of the weekend, Miami versus Florida State. I think it's going to be a fun one.
Got to get my money back. And I'm going to take it Miami.
You taking Miami? Yeah, I'm taking Miami against Florida State, especially after seeing what they did against UVA. Who's on HBCU Coach's Corner?
We have the SWAC legend, legendary quarterback from Grambling, Bruce Eugene. He played in 2004, 2005, won SWAC championship, was undefeated. So we're going to have him on today. And, of course, we're going to go recap the games from this past weekend. So I got about an hour, so I'm about to get out of here, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, y'all heard it there. Make sure y'all tune in for HBCU Coach's Corner. We're at a time here today on Centex Primetime. MCC Volleyball tomorrow. We'll be back here on Primetime on Thursday to get you guys ready for Friday Night Flex as well. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube, and we will see you guys tomorrow for MCC Volleyball. Everybody have a great evening.